Assalamu alaikum and welcome to The Entrepreneur. Once again, I've got a very prominent business entrepreneur with me. Today's guest is Musleh Ahmed, who is the director, chairman of Dhaka Regency, if I can get that correct. Dhaka Regency, which is a hotel in Bangladesh. It's a 5-star hotel. He's also a director of BBCCI, which is British Bangladesh Chamber of Commerce in Industries. Okay, I get a bit confused with that. First of all, I'd like to welcome our guest. Assalamu alaikum, Musleh bhai.
Ji, assalamu alaikum.
How are you today?
Alhamdulillah, I'm fine.
Looking good, and I've seen you before. You're looking very good. How are you feeling? Good?
Yeah, good, alhamdulillah.
Welcome to the show. With a busy schedule, and I say that to all the guests, I'm very, very honored, and it's my pleasure to have you. Now, you are obviously an inspiration to many of us. You've done, such a great, you've done other kind of businesses, and we talk about that. But a hotel, a 5-star hotel in Dhaka, immensely popular as well. And, I'm very chuffed, and just for the viewers, it's a must visit, guys, if you are in Dhaka. But as a businessman, how did you get into this type of business? Before you go into the Dhaka Regency, from a young age, can you just tell us what was the passion behind you becoming such a successful businessman?
Sure. Thank you for having me in your show. It's great to be here. To all the viewers of One TV, thank you for watching this program.
TV1.
TV1.
Just
yes. I, from a very young age, obviously, I wanted to do business. So even when I was at school, right. My childhood friends knew that I wasn't going to work for very long. I would get my education and get into some kind of business. And from a very young age, as I've said, I obviously did a business discipline degree. My right. degree was in marketing from a university in London. And then I went on to work in the city, working for various banks, Lloyds TSB, Close Brother Investment, then Lloyds NetWest Stockbrokers. So it was in the business sector, very different. Eventually, I decided to work with something more relevant to business world directly. So I got into a job with a company called Ethnic Minority Enterprise Project.
Okay.
That was based around Brick Lane. We were working with SMEs, so I was working with the local businesses to support them, right. startups, right. and also general business advice and guidance. So this was a business-related job, working with the business community, and eventually I went on to do business myself. Right. My very first venture was something again to do with Bangladesh. Okay. Many of you would know BRAC.
Right, yes.
Recently, we've lost Sir Fazli Hassan Ahmed, who right. was a legendary personality,
absolutely, yes,
did so much for the poor and the women, unprivileged women in Bangladesh. So I was working with them. We set up the Arong branch, which is one of the marketing Grameen village products.
Okay. So clothing mainly? Is it?
Mainly it's handicrafts, many right, products, yes, fabrics, clothing fashion. It's a big brand in Bangladesh, and that is owned by BRAC, which is world's biggest NGO. So I opened a branch of Arong in UK.
Right, okay.
That was many ayears ago.
Just for the viewers, sorry to just cut you. You've mentioned a few of the business fields that you were in, like Close Brothers and so forth. Was it a planned thing that you will be gaining experience? Because to me, it seems like you've been involved in all these various ventures or these various jobs, and then you actually gained a lot of experience before you actually went into a big business yourself.
Obviously, because if you want to start a business, you need some experience.
Absolutely. But was it planned, is my question?
Yes, my plan was to work for a few years,
right.
Get some experience so I understand how the corporate world works.
Yeah.
So I worked in the city, that gave me a lot of experience.
Absolutely.
Even before that, it's not just working experience. There are so many important skills you need in order to do well in your life.
Definitely.
And I think education is a must.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
Just for the viewers again, because it's very essential part of becoming an entrepreneur, what you've just mentioned. As Musleh bhai has mentioned that he was involved in many different, various jobs, and then what the reason was, and the reason I asked him was it planned, is because obviously planning is vital. So what he's done is, he's kind of like planned his journey to become a successful businessman by gaining a lot of experience. So jumping into something that you don't know could be sometimes, may not be the right thing to do. So always gain that experience. Thank you, Musleh. Just again, you were saying.
As I've said, so if I go even younger age,
right.
I was many people don't know. Let me share this in this
No,
show.
please do, because it's all about learning here.
I was an air cadet with the RAF, Royal Air Force,
wow.
here up to the age of 20.
Okay.
And that many of my friends said after schools, why are you going into this thing, waste of time? But for me, this was the backbone. It gave me so much skills. It's like team building, the problem solving, working with so many challenges, and working with RAF under a very formal structure gave me so much experience. We used to go in the summer camps during the 6 weeks holiday, staying in the RAF stations and doing so much. The discipline, doing your uniform.
It's molding, isn't it? It's molding yourself.
It just gives you so much skills, getting you ready for the next stage of your life.
Yes.
So I'll say, and I even had my Duke of Edinburgh's awards came up to bronze and silver.
Wow.
These were huge, huge help in my life, because that gave me, I would say, strength and confidence.
I can imagine,
to go forward. And as I've said, after that, I got my graduation in a business discipline, and then I was initially in the banking sector, then coming on to a business advisor, in working around Brick Lane, working with those restaurant sector and many other sectors. I was even in charge of the Brick Lane Festival for a few years. When I was, the Brick Lane Festival, we get about 30,000 people come into the area one single day.
From all over the country.
So I was overall in charge of that. There's a lot of experience working with the community. Eventually, I had this Arong, which is my very first business venture, as I've said, and that gave me an opportunity to go to Bangladesh, to the rural parts of Bangladesh with BRAC, visiting how the women make those products, going to Manikganj, going into Rajshahi.
So this was all research?
No, this was part of my business venture. I used to go and source those, not sourcing, BRAC does the sourcing for me, but actually going there, placing those orders, giving designs, selections, fabrics, and how they do the embroidery, and how it comes to Dhaka, quality. I've seen the whole process, how BRAC and Arong works. And that gave me the opportunity to visit Bangladesh on a frequently.
Which you probably loved. I mean, going to Bangladesh.
I really enjoyed it. It's adventure for me, and I was enjoying, and we created so many products, which was different. But
you were going to these rural parts of Bangladesh. Maybe I was thinking that the reason I asked is research is because you were trying to fulfill the demands of what people need, the gap that's in the market that other people are not providing. Is that what you were doing?
Yeah, Arong, again, if we were just setting up Arong exactly the way it is in Bangladesh, this wouldn't have worked. So we had to rethink of our product lines.
Something out of the box.
Absolutely, and we did that. And we actually survived on that for many years. And now it doesn't exist anymore, but we did very well with that. As I've said, going into Bangladesh, because of this venture, actually showed me Bangladesh.
I've read the profile that you sent me, and this is what it said. I mean, what you mentioned there was Arong was maybe it's a backbone of your success right now, because at the end of the day, the amount of knowledge that you gained from it, even though it doesn't exist, and maybe we can talk about why it doesn't, because that itself, something that fails is a part of somebody's success as well. I would say, and from other entrepreneurs that have been on the show, they mentioned stuff like that. So what's the reason that Arong, I mean, very briefly, obviously, such a big business, why did it fail?
It didn't fail. Arong is doing very well in Bangladesh. For this market, in London, in UK. Very competitive, and I got busy with so many other things, so I couldn't give more time into this. But the point I'm trying to come back to is that because of Arong, I used to go to Bangladesh, and that opened my eyes.
Definitely.
So much opportunity. Bangladesh is full of opportunity, and I met so many people. One of my friend who I did Arong Dhaka Regency with, he's also a British Bangladeshi, and he lived here for a very long time. But where I met him in Bangladesh, he was working with BRAC. He was initially working on exports of Arong, and then he was Brak Bidi Mail MD, was Arif Motahar, my partner in Dhaka Regency.
Okay.
We both started Dhaka Regency together. So this gave us the opportunity to think of something out of the box, as you said.
Okay.
And we had this opportunity of setting up this hotel, which is very close to the airport.
So what was the thinking behind the hotel? Because Arong is something completely different. And then suddenly...
So when you're a businessman, when opportunity comes, if you can make this work, something, Brak Arong is very different from what we did Regency hospitality sector.
Okay.
We thought this is it. We found the location. We thought, let's do a hotel. And you'll be surprised to know Dhaka Regency was the first privately owned five-star hotel in Bangladesh. I
was quite surprised to hear
which was initiated by an NRB like me.
Yes.
It's unheard of, and we said,
no, I mean, congratulations, because I mean, you're one of the first people.
Nobody thought of a five-star hotel before us. There was two other government-owned five-star hotels, which was there for a very long time. We thought, let's do it. Nobody even probably thought this is too challenging. We went there. We were supposed to start in 2008.
Now this particular business, the Dhaka Regency, obviously, just before we go on to the break, and we'll go in deep into how you actually managed to get all the investors and stuff like that. There's a little bit of a story behind it, isn't it? And I'm sure the viewers are very interested. We'll talk about that. We've got to go to a break right now. So guys, just join us after the break. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum, and welcome back to The Entrepreneur. Before the break, those of you who've just joined us now, we've got Musleh Ahmed from Dhaka Regency. And before the break, we were talking about what's the reason that he went into a five-star hotel business. We were talking about Arong and the other business that he was involved in, and then he decided to go into the hotel business, and we'll be carrying on with that. So, Musleh bhai, we're back from the break. We were mentioning, you were mentioning Dhaka Regency and what the reason you went into Dhaka Regency. You mentioned that opportunities, business opportunities, when they come, you have to grab it. So tell me a little bit more about Dhaka Regency and how you formed this this alliance, if you like, with all these other investors and stuff like that.
So it's initially it's myself and my close friend Arif Motahar, who's also a British Bangladeshi. We both got together and thought, let's do something in Bangladesh. And we looked at the opportunity when we had that Dhaka Regency building, came for an opportunity. So we thought, let's make that into a five-star hotel. And we thought, how are we going to do it? Whether we're going to go to the bank, how do we raise the funds? And we thought, no, we're going to do it through a consortium. And you'll be surprised, within 6 months, we managed to raise all the funds. We got, most of our investors are from here, British Bangladeshis, who invested small amounts of money to come a shareholder into the company. So we created a big NRB consortium of this scale. It never happened before. So I feel very proud of that. And Regency is what it is today because of all of us managed to come together and we created the first privately owned five-star hotel in Bangladesh. I'm very proud of that. Every one of us are very proud of that.
No, we're all proud of you.
Now you'll see so many other hotels coming in Bangladesh.
Well, you paved the way, kind of thing. You've showed them the way.
And you'll be surprised, it's already 13 years in operation. We've been running the hotel for the last 13 years. And again, because we were British Bangladeshis, I had a lot of energy then. I still, alhamdulillah, have a lot of energy. I still want to do a lot more.
Now tell me about this. Tell me, when you got all these people together, right, all these investors, what kind of difficulties did you face? Because look, everybody, I mean, obviously shareholders are shareholders, but I'm sure you had a few directors, right?
Because it was the first consortium of this kind. So there are a lot of hiccups. And you'll see there's problems and positives and negatives in everything. Generally, I'll say I'm very happy and proud of the consortium we've created. You still get people, because it was the first one, nobody ever did it before. People didn't understand how the culture.
Well, this is what I'm trying to understand.
What's the difference between a shareholder and a director or a chairman or somebody who initiates a project? So people had that confusion, and
Yeah.
I think because of that, when somebody coming, see, we got about just over 100 shareholders,
Right.
people from very different backgrounds,
Absolutely.
very different understanding,
Absolutely, yes.
very different education, not thinking how things will
Well, this
work.
is exactly what I mean.
Me
I mean, you
sitting in the driving seat,
Yeah.
trying to drive a vision for Regency where it is after 13 years.
But you've got the vision,
And
you see,
I
not
tell you
everybody can
what,
see it.
Because not only me, I'm not the only proud. All our shareholders are generally very proud because even last financial year AGM that we have declared 22% cash dividend.
Fantastic.
So we're giving returns to our investors. We've contributed over 150 crore of tax money to the government of Bangladesh.
Fantastic.
So we as
Mashallah.
NRBs are contributing to
Absolutely,
the
yes,
treasury of
absolutely.
Bangladesh. So we haven't just gone there to bring back.
Yeah.
Another thing with Bangladesh foreign investment, we the NRBs think very differently.
Yeah.
Because what we do as NRB foreign investors, we reinvest in our country. We don't bring everything out of that country.
Right.
We get involved in a lot of CSR work, a lot of charity work, because we have that connectivity, our roots in Bangladesh.
What would you,
My
I mean,
parents-
what was, as a successful business in Bangladesh, and you've obviously, Dhaka Regency is doing very, very good. I mean, what kind of tips would you give for our viewers, and especially for NRBs? By the way, NRB non-resident Bangladeshis, just in case you didn't know. But what kind of tips would you give I mean, there are opportunities, but there are difficulties as well in Bangladesh.
Look, I was a business advisor in this country, as I've said, so I've seen people starting business, failing. There are so many challenges in every part of the world.
Well, a lot of people are reluctant, you see.
No, even we have problems in UK, we have problems in Bangladesh.
Right.
The type of problem is very different.
Absolutely.
So how you will deal with it should be very different. Strategy should be different.
Definitely.
With Bangladesh, you need to employ the local expertise. You need to understand. And you have to be ready to face that challenge like I was.
Yes.
So you just can't think, I'm going to go to Dhaka and it's going to be all hunky-dory, like UK, everything run within a system.
Yeah.
So the way it runs in Bangladesh, that is the system. You just have to be mentally ready to face those challenges, work within those limitations, and sky is the limit. And Dhaka Regency became successful because we had the energy and the vision. We said, we're going to go there, make it a success. We're not coming back. We had a lot of challenges. I'm not saying it was all smooth journey throughout.
No.
And we want to do more.
This is what I wanted to mention, is because, I mean, look, I mean, obviously you've gone that extra step further, if you like, or that extra mile, because you, as an NRB, you went to Bangladesh and did business. I mean, it's challenging enough to deal with businesses in this country, but you've gone that extra mile. Now, people want to do business in Bangladesh, and Bangladesh is a place of opportunity, as we know. Last year, actually, I did a press conference, and we talked about the opportunities. However, the reluctancy in people like ourselves going to Bangladesh, the avenues are very difficult. Is it something that you will have to have a lot of, in terms of links with the right people? Does that help? Or I mean, is there avenues, the avenues such as this country? Because law and order is quite different, you see, back home.
As I've said, the culture is different. I was a marketing student.
Do you understand my question?
Absolutely. I was a marketing student. So you wouldn't employ the same kind of strategy everywhere in the world. International marketing is different because the local culture has to be taken into account. How everything works in Bangladesh is different from the way it works in UK. So if you go to Bangladesh, just like anywhere else, your planning is very important. What you want to do, you just don't want to go there and give money to your cousin and say, let's invest, buy this, buy that. You have to know what you're doing, and if you think you're going to do it, you have to go there. Don't just send the money. Somebody will do it for you. I remigrated to Bangladesh with my children and family. For 7 years, I stayed there to establish that project. So if I was just sitting here, this wouldn't happen. So if you want to do something, you got to have the right plan. You got to have the right energy and the vision. You got to be ready to face those challenges. Don't think you'll be all hunky-dory. And go there. Deliver the project.
You got to be prepared for the hurdles as well.
Deliver the project. Don't think you're going to invest and come back to UK and everything will happen automatically. No, it doesn't happen. Even if it's here, if you run your business, if you're not here, you know the difference.
Absolutely, definitely. Well,
so
I mean,
these are the key mistakes people make. People think, Bangladesh is easy to make money. look, you got to make it easy. It's not easy anyway to make.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I mean, look, the thing is, first of all, you got to have the passion. The objective's got to be there. So if the goal is that I'm going to reach, my goal at the end of a certain amount of time or whatever, then obviously all the challenges are going to be in between, and planning, just like Musleh has mentioned. So one of the tips he's mentioned is planning is key. Now, Musleh, obviously, as a busy businessman, and this is what I ask all my guests, and we've talked about Royal Regency, and you just
Dhaka
mentioned
Regency.
that Dhaka Regency, I've done it again. This is what we talked about not doing, but Dhaka Regency, and you've mentioned about family and taking your family, remigrated to Bangladesh. Now, I mean, I always ask my guests about their personal life a little bit, and how they deal with business and the personal aspect of it. I'm sure you're married, you've got children and all that, and you mentioned that you went. How was it for the family that suddenly I'm going to go, pick everything up and go to Bangladesh and live there for 7 years? How did you deal with that?
In our culture, we're still very family oriented. Yeah. When we say family, it's our mom, dad, brother, sister, and wife, children. It's all of that, and we have a very strong bonded family. Right. So it was very difficult for my parents to accept.
Absolutely, exactly. That's
that I go to Bangladesh, especially with my children, their grandchildren. It was so difficult.
How did the children take it? I mean, their friends and everything.
They were very young, and
okay.
It was easy. It was easy to.
And the missus?
Mrs. accepted very well, because I would say I must say in every show I say that where I am today, all my success is all because of the dua from my parents. Fantastic. That is my biggest asset in my life, and I always say that. And secondly, my wife has been such a supportive person, always been. What I will say, she's never been an obstacle to anything I wanted to do in life. So she was the silent support, always. Even Dhaka Regency, I create a business plan or something, I give it to her, say, why don't you have a look at this? She'll give me the opinions, but not enforcing me to do it that way. And that support, having a partner like that. You're very
lucky and blessed
partner
to have
like that is great.
Like that.
My parents dua, my brother, sister, we have such a bonding in our family. And again, as I've said, without having a happy family, you can't really go far.
Absolutely. So definitely, as you mentioned, Bobby being support, and it really helps. I mean, the saying is, behind every successful man is a good woman, right? Or something like that. Right. Look, thank you very much for coming in today and telling us about Dhaka Regency and the other business that you have been involved in. At the end of the day, this show is about inspiring our younger viewers and the other viewers that watch, and even when people want to go into business, they need to learn about business and how and what the passion behind it is. And people like yourselves, you inspire us definitely. So thank you for that. Just quickly, I mean, you've given us one tip, and you mentioned about the difficulties and all that. Give us another 2 tips to become a successful businessman, just for our viewers, and then we can...
To the viewers, especially the younger NRBs, young generation, one thing that I must say is that education is so important. If you when I say education, it doesn't have to be formal education, but without the certain amount of education, I would say at least we have the opportunity in UK to go for higher education, at least get a degree. Any discipline doesn't matter, because what you will realize is, once upon a time in your life, if you don't get the right education, at least a degree, you feel that's pulling you back. That creates an obstacle to do well, do what you want to do in life. So education is a must.
So one of them, the tips are education, and
education
the other one?
is a must, and build your skills outside of education, interpersonal skills, extracurricular activities. As I've said, I was an air cadet. That gave me a lot in life. I think this is something, it's your own asset. That the confidence and the skills that it gives you, that will be there for the rest of your life, and you can go far. Sky is the limit.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Musleh. Well, you've heard it from a very, very prominent business entrepreneur, and if you are in Dhaka, please do visit Dhaka Regency. Now, next week we'll have another guest, another entrepreneur, and he'll be sharing his passion. Now, all these tips that we've been hearing, different entrepreneurs come give different tips. If I were you, I'd be noting it down and then putting it all in a whole column and then taking it forward. But until next time, Assalamu alaikum.